The GOAT, the greatest of all time, gets talked a lot about in sports, in the sporting world.
Yes, it does.
I feel like the basketball one's the biggest discussion that you ever hear about, purely because it's Jordan versus LeBron James. You've got an undisputed GOAT at the moment in the NFL with Tom Brady. I just sat there and kind of went, what would make a GOAT in rugby? There's obviously lots of different positions, so it's hard. It's very much like the NFL, where what would make a GOAT, and then what would make an undisputed GOAT? Like, what would they need to achieve? So, I mean, what? Let's start with you. What would your opinion of a GOAT start with?
Yeah, look, so for me, there's you've got to make the distinction between, because GOAT gets tossed around a lot as well, right? Anytime a player of some standing retires, GOAT emojis are out there like crazy. Like, there's 14-year-old TikTokers at an animal farm, right? It's just too many GOAT emojis, okay? So I'm very hesitant to ever call anyone the GOAT.
Yep.
Or the GOAT. Like, that is one player, right? One player, right? Just because you're a really good player and you retire, you're not the GOAT. And I'm putting it on record now. I'm sick and tired of seeing that. So for me, it's quite a high standard.
Yep.
It's quite a high standard. So if we're talking achievements in rugby, right? You need to achieve something that no one's ever achieved before. Yep. So the reason Tom Brady is the undisputed GOAT in the NFL is he's won 6 Super Bowls, right? Yep. That's something never... Or is he won... No, he's won 7. 7 Super Bowls. Yep. Won 6 with the Patriots, 1 with the Buccaneers. It's insane, right? In terms of rugby, right? Rugby doesn't have an annual global competition like the NFL does. Of course, the NFL's not global, but there's not a Rugby World Cup every year. There's one every 4 years. Yep. So obviously the number of titles is going to be lesser compared to the Super Bowl GOAT compared to the Rugby GOAT. But World Cups have to play into it, right?
Yep.
There are a lot of players that have won 2 World Cups, but I don't think any player's ever won 3.
Not that I know of.
No. And at least not a player that was in the squads that was a significant contributor to 3 World Cups. So I think for me, playing and contributing in 3 World Cups is up there, right? Then I think whatever your highest level domestic competition is, be it Six Nations or Super Rugby, have to win a couple of titles in those. For me, I'd say at least 5.
Yeah,
at least 5. Because I recognise Six Nations. Super Rugby's semi-dominated by the Crusaders. Yeah. So there's quite a few Crusaders players who have gotten that. But for Six Nations, I'm going to say 5. Super Rugby, let's say 8. Yeah. Because I think Super Rugby, it's a little bit, it's sort of different competitions. And then a couple of World Rugby awards. World Rugby Player of the Years, equivalent of MVPs. I would say probably a similar number of those, about 5. I think, and that's very difficult to do. But this is to make the player that will forevermore be recognised as the greatest to ever do it, and to set the bar so high that it would be a miracle if anyone could
catch it. Yeah, I agree. I think you're starting to go, that height when you go 5 Rugby World Player of the Years. You say you've won 3 World Cups, if you've won Six Nations or club rugby championships, Bledisloes, whatever it is, you add a few of those to your shield. I guess you'd also have to be specific on the stats of the player. Yeah. So if we're talking first 5, leading point scorer in international rugby. Yeah. If we're talking a winger, leading try scorer, or outside back, leading try scorer in international rugby. And I would imagine that to be a GOAT, to be considered the undisputed GOAT, you would have to have the most caps for your country. Yeah. I think maybe not the most caps, but you'd have to be up there, you'd have to be top 5 in your country, because longevity is also a thing.
100%.
If we look at it, and you could make an argument, let's just say for the argument's sake, Richie McCaw, we're considering him the GOAT. Just, again, this isn't undisputed GOAT. That's a very disputed GOAT. Yeah. But I'm just going to say Richie McCaw, he's the GOAT of All Blacks rugby. So if we look at him, 2 World Cups, he was the top test player for a while. I think Sam Whitelock will probably get it off him, but he's up there with that. You'd probably look at his tackle count. He's won how many Super Rugbies, enough to sit there. I think he won 2 World Rugby Player of the Years. So that's when we're starting to get into GOAT status. And I feel like, you talk about the Hoopers now. he's Australian. Well, when he retires, I think he'll be up there with Australian GOAT. Now, that might even be questionable because you look at like Johnny Eels.
Yeah.
Now, I think we have to remember rugby union especially is very new to professional. Professional, it hasn't been very, I guess, long in that sense. So awards haven't been around for so long as well. So I think over the next 15, 20 years, we will get more understanding of what it does take to be the GOAT.
Yeah.
But yeah, I actually think I quite like what you've said. Like 5 World Rugby Player of the Years, you're showing, and it doesn't have to be bang, 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 but let's say you do 2 in a row, then a couple of years off, 2 in a row, and then like 1 to finish off your career. 5's a lot. Like when you look at it, that is 5 years of being the best rugby player on the world, on the planet at that time. That has you an undisputed GOAT by itself. You add 3 World Cups, let's say 2 World Cups to that.
Yeah.
You're well on your way. Let's say you add, I don't even think you need that many Super Rugby. Let's say, depending, again, rugby is obviously a team sport. So if you're playing for like, I feel like, say this guy plays for the Highlanders.
Yeah.
He adds 2 or 3. Yeah. You're probably like, hey, holy shit. Or plays for the Waratahs again. Very simple. Adds 2 or 3. Yeah. Holy shit. He plays for the Crusaders, you probably expect 10. But Crusaders are an outlier. Same thing if it's an Italian guy, and I don't want to take away from anyone. It could be, we're not. But say he takes them to 2 or 3. 2 or 3 Six Nation wins, a 1 Six Nation win, and a World Cup from an Italian player, and he wins 5. Yeah, then you're starting to discuss like, fuck, he must be pretty special if he's delivered that. And dragging
Italy by the boot.
Exactly. Yeah. So, yeah. So I think that makes the GOAT in rugby. Yeah. I think that's where I'm starting to just say you won't see a player ever do this again when they have 5 World Rugby Player of the Year awards. Yeah. That is such a good point you made there, Husey.
Yep. As I frequently do.
Thank you for joining us on this post-podcast chat. Let us know what you think A, takes to be the GOAT, and then B, who is the GOAT at the moment. Is there an undisputed GOAT out there? Do we think that he's playing? Do we think he's up and coming? Do we think he could be there? Is it Joseph Suwali, and is he about to come across and drag Australia to 3 World Cups? Well, who knows? Who knows? Excellent. Thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
Peace.